Hello there everybody and welcome back to the tutorial series, and today is day 2, and as mentioned in day 1, or should I say day 1, today we'll be talking about the web and how it works. So just a quick overview of what we'll be doing in this video. We'll be talking about the internet and its relationship to the web. We'll be seeing and discussing the roles of both servers and browsers. We'll be talking about URLs, and finally the anatomy of a web page, so it shouldn't really take us a long time. Now, the internet and the web. The internet is simply an international network of connected computers. Just take a look at this now. Every computer in the world linked to one another via what? The internet. So I can access what information on this person's computer via the internet. Most people usually confuse the internet and the web. Now, if you've ever heard of networks or you've read something in regards to networks, you know the three major types of network we have. You have the local area network, you have the municipal area network, and the wide area network. I won't really be talking about the municipal area network and the local area network. What I'll be talking about is the wide area network, since a very good example of it is the internet. Now, yes, I've already said it. A good example of the wide area network is the internet. That's just what you need to know. So the web is simply a means by which information can be shared over the internet. Now, why do you think they are called web pages? It's because information is being shared through them. So if you've read one of these articles, they say head over to my web page, my website. It's simply a dedicated address for them on the internet where they can share information. That's just the difference between them. So that's just what you need to know about the internet and the web. Now, very good. How did the web come to be? In a physics lab back in 1994, Geneva, Switzerland, two scientists were working on a means by which information can be shared on multiple computers, and eventually they stumbled upon hyperlinks. So they used hyperlinks to connect computers to one another, where they can share documents from one computer to the other without having to do any how will I say this now, without having to copy and paste from one storage medium to another. Just share from one computer to the other effortlessly. When you use when you are using all these physical storage mediums and co to just copy and paste information, maybe from your computer you copy to your flash drive, we refer to such as snail mail. It's very slow, but on the internet it's there for you. Just boom and you're there. Very good. That's just the internet. That's just the difference between the internet and the web. And now we'll be talking about the role of the server. But before I do that, let me tell you about the body that regulates and oversees the development of new technologies for the internet. This body is called the World Wide Web Consortium, and it's called W3C for short. And it's an organization that oversees the development of web technologies, such as what you use for the front end, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And it was founded in 1994 by Tim Berners-Lee at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT for short. Remember, I said I'm going to be walking you through step by step, so I want you to have some certain knowledge as prerequisites to this course. Very good. They are called the W3C for short. So they oversee the development of web technologies. For more information, you can just visit their website at w3c.org. I'll also leave a link for that in the description. And don't forget that this tutorial series is powered by Students Hub. I'll also leave a link to their website in the description below. So let's continue. Now let's talk about the roles of servers and browsers. Now, Browsers, they are usually referred to as the client side of things, while server still remains the server side of things. Now, when you want to host your information, your websites on the internet, you need what we call a server. So in a server now, you're storing your information. So it's just as if you're having a dedicated computer that will just use to store your information, your website information, and then use it to serve it up. But it's there on the server. How do I gain access to it? This is where browsers come in. Now, a browser does the requesting for you. So once you type in the link, hold on here. I think I'll handle this simultaneously, the link of browsers and the role of browsers and how URLs work. Now, look at this now. I type in a website link. This is where the role of browsers come in. Maybe http / maybe www.zpay.com. Very good. Yeah, zpay.com. Now, this part here, this part that I'm highlighting is what we refer to as the protocol. Now, the protocol it simply tells the browser to go into web mode, meaning I want you to look for this. Meaning, as you are seeing this now, as the browser is viewing this, it wants to go into web mode. So it knows that this information is not stored on your local machine, but rather it's stored on the internet and it is on a web browser. Very, very good. Now, this www, what it means is that you just want your browser to search through the World Wide Web. And this zpay.com is the domain name. But what if I have something like this, maybe /payments? Now, this /payment represents the path. Very good. So you might have multiple paths in one web page. Now, if I now hit another / and maybe go to fax.html. Now, this is where we request for a particular document. So if you notice, we've requested for this particular document fax.html. So over here, HTTP represents the protocol that should be used, meaning you want your browser to go into web mode. www means you want your browser to search through the World Wide Web. zpay.com is the extension name, and payments now refers to the path. But why am I using /? It's very good. Now, it simply means when you're searching through that particular web server, you want it to go to this particular directory. When I talk about directory, I simply mean maybe a folder or something like that where that particular information is stored. So maybe on their server they have a payment folder, and in this payment folder there is what we call a fac.html, fac, frequently asked question. Very good. This particular document is stored on this payments directory, and that is how it works. So now we've talked about the role of browsers and how URLs work simultaneously. But what about this? I'm sure you've seen something like HTTPS before. I actually forgot to tell you the full meaning of HTTPS, of HTTP. Sorry. It stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Just remember that. Yeah, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, as simple as that. Then HTTPS, what does it mean? It stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. But what is the difference between them? You've noticed at the end of each one ends with secure and the other does not. So I know some bells should be ringing in your brain right now that okay, one should be more secure than the other, and that is the truth of the matter. Very good. So it's just like the difference between you staying in a rural area and and another person staying in a government reserved area, trenches and fame, something like that. Not even something like that. That is exactly how it is. So that is what I want you to know. So the server side um, serves your information for you, while the client side, which is your browser, helps you to get those information and display it for you. We have multiple browsers such as Google Chrome, Firefox, Opera Mini, and the likes of them. Very good. And now it's time to finish up this video by talking about the anatomy of a web page. Now, I'm not using a computer where I can just easily view the source code of a website, so I'm going to be opening up my text editor here. In the next video, I'll show you how to install one and how they work. Um, I'm going to just open up a template that is already ready made on that text editor. So let me just head over here and just create HTML plus Bootstrap 5. Don't really worry about Bootstrap 5, it's just a CSS framework. So yeah, good. Now this is a simple web page. Now this web page represents your it's just an admin dashboard of something, maybe an e-commerce site. Very good. Now look at how this web page is. You're having so many different elements. You're having a header, a paragraph, different cards and such, a table, and finally a footer section. Very good. This is just a simple dashboard. You also have a nav bar. Okay, I don't think this works. Okay, yeah, it doesn't work. And yeah, this drop down also doesn't work. Very good. This is how a web page looks. Now you know that this is how some web pages look, but what about what goes on behind the scenes? Very, very good. Let me just show you how it is. Now move back. This is what we call the structure, the code. This is what makes you to be able to see that. That is why HTML is a markup language. I'm using it here for structure. So this is just it. The code is what structures it out for you, and that is just the anatomy of a simple web page. So let's look at this web page once more. You're having sorry about that. You're having headers, you're having some headers, some paragraphs, a footer, a table, and the likes of them. Very, very good. So it's just the simple anatomy of this website, having different elements over there. So the elements, that the things that we use to develop these websites, it includes your CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. So with that being said, that's just the end of this video. So just a quick recap of what we've done. We talked about the internet and how it relates to the web. We talked about the roles of browsers and servers. We talked about the parts of a URL, and we also talked about, and finally we talked about the anatomy of a simple web page. So in the next video, we are going to be talking about some basic concepts that you need to do, and after that we'll be creating our very first web page. So until then, see you in the next video.